Hi again and welcome back. It's the 17th of July 2018, 19 minutes past 1 in the afternoon here in London. I've just sat down and started to prepare my charts, get myself ready for trading the New York session this afternoon. If you'd like to find out more about the way we trade or even join, you can come to my website here, uk2asia.com, click on this link here, join my mentor, and here you'll see some information about Kim Krompass and the Price Action Traders Institute. There's some links here to interviews that Kim's done over the years, talking about her method of trading, and really informative stuff. In fact, it was this interview here that first introduced me to Kim. It was listening to that I decided to sign up with her, and I'm really glad that I did, because it's worked out really well for me. My trading works out successful, and it was money well spent joining him. One last thing is that you can follow along with our trading. If you go to @UK2Asia, that's me, you can follow my trading, and you can follow Kim on Twitter. Her Twitter handle is @PriceActionKim. You'll find that we post everything as we're trading on there: entries, exits, wins and losses, and results at the end of each day. And it gives you a better insight as to how we're trading using Kim's criteria. Just going to run through my trade plan now. It'll take me a few minutes to do that, and I shall be back very soon if there's any trades to be taken. Okay, back with an update. Taking a trade a little early this morning, seeing some reasonable moves throughout the London session and moving in towards the New York Open. The only trade I've taken at the moment is the US dollar Canadian dollar, taking this long at 47, and I'm looking for further upside movement on this. So it's showing a little bit of profit at the moment, and so I shall pause again, and if there's any changes or if there's any other trades that I take, I shall come back with an update. Back with a quick update. We've seen some reasonable moves throughout the market on different pairs, so I'll quickly run through these, giving you the update as to which trades I'm in. The Euro US dollar, I took this at 99 as it came through one of our entry points, and showing some profit there. Looking for further downside movement on this, down towards this 80 level here, and see what happens to the US dollar from that. It looks like US dollar strength at the moment that's pushing that down. The pound US dollar, another one, big move down. This came through one of our entry points. It's an entry point that only more experienced traders using the Price Action Traders Institute criteria would get into, but I took this, and that's showing some good downside movement now. So pound US dollar, looking for that, it's through that 50 level, looking for that to get down towards that 20 level down here. The pound Japanese yen, again, this was entered exactly the same way as the pound US dollar. Took this short at 13, and looking for that to come through, possibly break through that 0 level, and maybe even get down to that 80. But be keeping an eye on all of these and seeing what happens with price across the board. Australian dollar US dollar, took this one as it came through one of our entry points, and that's showing profit right now, moving down quite nicely again on that US dollar strength. The US dollar Canadian dollar, took this earlier on as it hit one of our entry levels. You can see that it's actually come through that 80 level, broke through it, pulled back a little bit, looking for this to continue this upside movement up towards this 0. So US dollar Canadian dollar, I took this long at 47, looking for further upside movement, and you can see that my trailing stop has actually started moving up now and locking in some profit on that trade. The last trade that I'm in is New Zealand dollar US dollar. Hit our entry point, I took it, but it's pulling back because of that US dollar strength. I'm looking for upside movement on this. I took it at 0.3 as it hit one of our entry points. So that's all the trades I'm in at the moment. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades. I'm fully loaded. 6 trades is usually the maximum that I'll take at any one time, purely for being able to manage 6 trades in one go. Any more than that, it can get a bit tricky. Okay, I'll pause again, and I'll be back if there's any updates. Back again for another update. The Euro US dollar, still on this trade. Price came back and almost got to a point where I would have to punch out regarding the criteria that we stick with, the rules that we stick with, but just managed to stick with that trade, hold on to it, and you can see that price is just moving sideways, hovering around my original entry point. The pound US dollar, just holding that one there, but very, very close to being stopped out on that, and so not looking great. Chances are I'll be stopped out on that. Pound Japanese yen, I got stops out on this. That's 12 pips I lost there. So all in all at the moment I'm down 22 pips. 2 trades that I lost on the pound Japanese yen. The original trade that I took, that one stopped out, and then I took a re-entry on this and again stopped out. So down 24 pips at the moment. The Australian dollar US dollar, that's okay. Took that earlier on at 99 and price is still showing a little bit of profit there. Looking for further downside movement on the Australian dollar US dollar. The US dollar Canadian dollar still in this trade. Nice strong move up, and I've actually locked in 20 pips on this, so I've got a 2-to-1 risk to reward on this trade at the moment. Looking for further movement up. I'm looking for it to break this 80 again. You can see it's actually spiked through there, and if it can push through there and hold, then I'll be looking for this target up here at closer towards 0.0. And the last trade, New Zealand dollar US dollar, still in the hole on this one. It's slightly below where I took this trade at, so looking for further upside movement on this. But again, that's not looking that great. That's down to that US dollar strength that's pushing that down. Okay, pause again, and I shall be back very soon. Back with another update. We're seeing some good strong price action across the board on different pairs, so I'll quickly run through these and the trades that I'm in. I've had a few more trades stop out, but I'll go through those as and when I get to them. So Euro US dollar, you can see that I managed to hold on to that, and that's moving down quite nicely. It's on the US dollar strength, seeing it approaching this 80. If it pushes through that, I'll be locking in break even or locking in some pips, and then I'll be looking for this to possibly move down towards this 50 level down here. So Euro US dollar still moving down quite nicely and showing some profit there. The pound US dollar, I got stopped out of that, pulled back and hit my stop, losing 10 pips on that. Pound Japanese yen, I was stopped out on that too, so I had 2 stops on that. And the Australian dollar US dollar, still holding this. Looking for further downside movement. Again, if this breaks that 80 level, I'll be looking for this to move down towards this 50. And so showing some profit at the moment and looking for further downside movement on the Australian dollar US dollar. US dollar Canadian dollar, seeing this pushing up nicely. I've got 30 pips locked in on this right now. Seeing a bit of a pullback back down towards that 80 level. Hoping it will hold there and maybe continue up towards that 0.0. But if it doesn't, if it pushes back through that 80, I'm not too worried. I've got 30 pips locked in on that already. And the last trade that I had was the New Zealand dollar US dollar. That came way back because of the US dollar strength and stopped me out. So that was 10 pips there that I lost. So at the moment I'm down 44 pips, but seeing some good profit on open trades that I've got at the moment. Okay, I'll pause again and be back very soon with an update. Another update is we're seeing some more price action. These US dollar moves are messing around a little bit at the moment. We've seen some deep pullbacks, but they're starting to move off again in the same direction. So you can see this US dollar Japanese yen. I took this, it came through one of our entry points, and I've taken this long at 67, looking for further upside movement, seeing a good profit on that at the moment. And the other one, the US dollar Canadian dollar, I had 30 pips locked in on this on my first trade. That came back and hit my price stop, so I came away with 30 pips on that and managed to get straight back in again as that hit our entry criteria. And so again, that's showing up some profit. Looking for this US dollar to continue this strong move this further up towards that 0.0, which is where I had my take profit initially. Okay, that's the only changes at the moment. I'll be back soon with another update. Back again as we're seeing some more movements on these markets. Seems to be some reasonable movement, even though it's not fantastic follow through on many of the pairs at the moment. We're starting to see that pick up now. So Euro US dollar, you can see I'm still in that trade from way back earlier on, showing a little bit of profit, but that's absolutely fine at the moment. Just holding that one, looking for further downside movement. The pound US dollar, this re-entry that I took, showing profit, and I've locked in 10 pips on that, so I've got a 1-to-1 risk to reward on this now. Looking for further downside movement, hoping to see some further US dollar strength and pound weakness to push this down. The Australian dollar US dollar, you can see I'm still in this trade here, just about held that. Looking for further downside movement on this, showing a little bit of profit, but not a massive amount at the moment. US dollar Japanese yen moving beautifully now. You can see that I've locked in break even a couple of pips on that now. I think I'll start moving that stop loss, that price stop up now, because that's moving nice and strong. That's a combination of Japanese yen weakness and US dollar strength. US dollar, Canadian dollar, looking for further upside movement on this. I've locked in break even on this pair too, and looking for further upside movement on that. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, no change on that. And so that's where I stand at the moment. I'll just carry on flicking through these charts, seeing what's going on, following them up, pushing my price stops up now, and just see what happens. Just see what happens with these prices, see if we get continuation of these moves. Back with another follow-up on the trades that I've got open at the moment, just showing you how these are going and how I'm managing them. So you can see the Euro US dollar showing profit on this. I've got 8 pips locked in on this, which gives me a 1-to-1 risk to reward. If this pulls back now and hits my price stop, I'll come out with 8 pips. And like I say, that's a 1-to-1 risk to reward. The pound US dollar, that's almost hitting my price stop now. I've got 10 pips locked on this, giving me a 1-to-1 risk to reward. It looks like it's going to hit that. The GJ, no trades on that. I got stopped out. That third trade I took on the pound Japanese yen pulled back, giving me a 12 pip stop. Australian dollar, US dollar, still holding this. I've got 2 pips locked in on this. If it comes back, it's going to knock me out for pretty much break even. US dollar, Japanese yen. You can see I've locked 10 pips in on this, giving me a 1-to-1 risk to reward on that one as well. And US dollar, Canadian dollar, taken another trade on this, my third entry on this. I've taken profit twice on this, and I'm in a third trade on this now, looking for further upside movement. Not looking great at the moment, it's pulling back right now. And that's it, that's the 5 trades that I'm holding at the moment. And so moving into the London close now, and we'll see what happens with these. I'll pause again and I'll be back shortly to let you know how these trades are going. Okay, we've seen some of these prices pulling back and hitting my price stop, so I'll quickly run through these trades now to let you know what I'm in and which ones hit my price stop. The Euro US dollar, that pulled back on this candle here, hit my price stop, giving me 8 pips. Pound US dollar, this one pulled back, giving me 10 pips, hit my price stop, giving me 10 pips. I got back in on this though, as it pulled back on this last candle, hit our entry, one of our entry points again, and so I've got back in on this just to see if I can squeeze a little bit more out of this US dollar strength move that we're seeing this afternoon. The US dollar, Japanese yen, again this one pulled back, hit my price stop, giving me 10 pips on this. And again, with that US dollar strength, I've got back in again just to see if I can pull a little bit more out of this US dollar strength, looking for further upside movement on this. So the trades that I'm in at the moment, let's just quickly flick through these. Pound US dollar, looking for further downside movement. The Australian dollar, US dollar, been hanging on to that since way back, looking for further downside movement. Got 2 pips locked in on this, and it's getting very close to hitting my price stop on that. The US dollar, Japanese yen, again, well, it's pulling back quite deep now, so let's see what happens with that. The US dollar CAD, back in on this one, looking for further upside movement. And that's it, they're the only trades I'm in at the moment. Okay, I'll pause again. Next update will probably be the final one. I would imagine that I'll be out of the markets on the next update. Okay, I said on the last update that this would be the final one, but I'm still hanging on to these pairs. What I did, I took profit on some of these US dollar pairs, and because my trade plan hadn't changed right from when I first sat down this afternoon before the New York Open and did my trade plan, I decided to have another shot at it and see if I could squeeze a little bit more out of this US dollar strength move. So I'll just run through these 3 trades that I've still got running. This re-entry on the pound US dollar, I got back in on this after I took profit, and you can see that's showing a little bit of profit at the moment. Nothing spectacular, but showing just a little bit of profit there. The US dollar, Japanese yen, that's just a little bit below my entry point there, but again I'm hanging on to that, looking for this US dollar strength to continue, maybe even more of that Japanese yen weakness that we've seen this afternoon. So just hanging on to that and seeing what that does. We've got 10 minutes to go before the London close, and we'll just see what this price action does. If we get a burst on this price action, I may even punch out of these trades once they're in profit. But we'll see what's happening with these. So US dollar, Japanese yen, slightly in the red at the moment, but gradually starting to creep back up again. And the third trade that I've got is the US dollar, Canadian dollar. And you can see that's showing nice profit, just approaching this 0-0. I've actually put a take profit of 2 to 1 from where I got in. So I'm looking for that to push through that 0-0 and up a little bit more to give me a 20 pip take profit. So I'll pause again and I shall be back very soon to let you know how these play out. Okay, back again with another update. The pound US dollar, you can see that came down, got fairly close to my take profit. Now it's pulling back a little bit, still hanging in there. Like I say, looking for that US dollar strength to continue and bring it down to my take profit. The US dollar, Japanese yen, see that's poked back up into profit, but now it's pulling back a little bit, hanging around pretty much where I got into this trade, but we'll see if that US dollar strength continues on this, and also that earlier Japanese yen weakness that we were seeing, giving this lovely move here. And the third and final pair that I'm in, US dollar, Canadian dollar, we can see that came up through the 0-0, pulling back a little bit at the moment, but again, I've got 2 pips locked in on that, so if that pulls all the way back, I'm absolutely fine, not going to lose anything on this. It'll be nice to see it just push that a little bit further up and give me that take profit where I've got it at 2 to 1, looking for 20 pip profit on this. Okay, I'll pause again and I'll be back soon. Okay, finished for the day now. I'm just going to run through these charts and show you exactly where I got in, where I got out, and the pips that I took. Starting with the euro US dollar, I took this initial trade at 99 just here, and you can see price came down here. I'd locked in 8 pips, giving me a 1-to-1 risk to reward, and then price came back, hit my price stop, giving me 8 pips there. Euro Japanese yen, there were no trades to be taken on that, no entry criteria at all. Pound US dollar, I took 3 trades on this. First trade I took that was at 57. Took this as this candle here just powered down, and you can see where I got in here, and I was stopped out just there, losing 10 pips. Second trade I got in as price came back up here, hit our entry criteria on this candle here as it spiked up here, and I took this short looking for further downside movement. Price came down quite a long way, came back up again. I'd locked in 10 pips on this here, and you can see price came up and hit my price stop, getting me out of that trade. Took a third trade on the GU, took this again as it came through one of our entry points, and I ended up punching out of this. The third trade on the GU gave me 14 pips. I'll sum up all of these pips when I've been through all the charts. So 3 trades taken on the GU, 1 loser, 2 winners. GJ, took 3 trades on the pound Japanese yen, and all 3 were stops. It's got stops out on each one. So first entry was way down here. That was at 13, got stopped out up here. Second trade was here, stopped out again. Third trade was here, stopped out again. So that was 36 pips I lost on the pound Japanese yen. Australian dollar US dollar, I took 1 trade on this as price came through one of our entry points here. Watch this price come all the way down here. I'd locked in break even by the time we got here. I locked in 2 pips, and then you can see price just ended up coming back up and hit my price stop here, giving me 2 pips. Australian dollar Japanese yen, there were no entries on this at all. Price just wasn't doing anything, it was going sideways. US dollar Japanese yen, took 2 trades on this. You can see the first trade I took here, took that at 67. Watch this price go up, way up here, and I'd locked in 10 pips on that, I believe. Let me just check. US dollar Japanese yen, yeah, I locked in 10 pips on that, and price came down to here and hit my price stop, giving me plus 10 pips. Second trade I took on this, I got back in as price came through an entry point here, and I ended up punching out of this when I finished trading for break even, so I didn't gain anything, didn't lose anything on that second trade on the US dollar, Japanese yen. US dollar, Canadian dollar. Took 3 trades on this. So you can see the first trade I took down here fairly early on. Watch this price come all the way up here and then price pulled back. By this time I'd locked in 30 pips on this, and you can see the exit point there. That was plus 30 pips I got on that first trade. Second trade I took, as price came through another entry point just here. Price came up here. By then I'd locked in 5 pips. And you can see I took profit there. It hit my price stop as price came back down, giving me 5 pips. The third trade I took on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. I got in here as price came through one of our entry points. Saw this price come up, pulled back, and this is the point where I punched out. I actually got out of my trades here, giving me 14 pips on that final US dollar, Canadian dollar trade. 3 trades, 3 winners. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, no trades on this. Price was just going sideways, wasn't going anywhere at all. And the one trade I took on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, took this quite low down. I was looking for further upside movement, and I thought I'd give it one shot. Bought this long and looking for this to move up. You can see where I got in here, and price came back. That gave me a full stop on that, so I lost 10 pips as price came back down here. And price was drifting back down too far. At that point I wasn't interested in taking any other trades. Just to finalise today's trading, I'm going to run through the pairs and show you what I've taken and what I ended up with. The euro US dollar, you can see, was plus 8. Pound US dollar plus 14. Pound Japanese yen minus 36. That was 3 trades that stopped out on me. Australian dollar US dollar plus 2 pips. US dollar Japanese yen plus 10 pips. US dollar Canadian dollar plus 49 pips. And the New Zealand dollar US dollar, 1 trade that stops out on me, giving me minus 10. Ending the day with plus 37 pips. Not a massive day, but it's okay. It's a positive day. If you'd like to find out more about the way we trade at the Price Action Traders Institute, if you go to my website, which is uktoasia.com, you can find more details there. You can follow me on Twitter. More often than not, I'm live on Twitter as I'm trading, posting entries, exits, wins, losses, and results at the end of each day. And if you've enjoyed this video, if you take anything from it, please click on subscribe and you'll get the updates as and when they come through. I think there's also a little bell there you can click on, and that will also give you updates as and when new videos are posted. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you.